G'day from beautiful Monaco, but I'm going to talk about what the drivers drove to the Imola Grand Prix last weekend, and the Ferraris, they were magnificent. Were any of the F1 drivers driving Porsche 918 Spiders? No, I'm out the front of the Hotel Hermitage in Monaco. But Max Verstappen was driving a Mustang, a GT, the Mach-E version. This is an electric car, sets you back about $56,000 US. Bright blue. Max parked his car in the driver's car park, which is a little bit of a walk from the swipe gates. This is the avenue that they take to get to those swipe gates, the same one that George Russell took. He was driving an AMG 63S. I've not looked closely at this car, but I did have a look at the badge on the front. I'm told this is what all AMGs have on the front. A little bit more about this car. The 63S has the same engine as the 63, although it's a slightly more powerful version, higher horsepower and more torque. It also has larger brakes. Now, while Lewis Hamilton did the long walk on one day, on a couple of days he drove right up to the swipe gates in this Mercedes. And his outfits this weekend were impressive as always, with Sundays being a standout. In fact, I didn't get a great shot of the back, but it was all cut out. Lando Norris is next up, driving a Mercedes, an E220D, D being Ford diesel. And what was their drive into the track like? Well, it depended on where they were staying. If they were staying out at this beautiful hotel, it's about 25 minutes on a good run. However, a number of the drivers stayed in motorhomes in an area about 6 or 7 kilometres from the track. They had their own security and they were parked in a compound. It was pretty much F1 driver heaven. And I'm not sure if any fans found out the location of that, but if they did, standing on the road going to and from that little park would have been highly fertile grounds for selfie opportunities. Lando's teammate was in an Alfa Romeo Stelvio, that's Oscar Piastri. And who would have been in his car? Well, certainly his trainer Kim Keedle and his security man, new for this year. Oh, and I do need to thank one of Oscar Piastri's sponsors, Quadlock, because I lost my case. I left it in my rental car in Bologna, and they've managed to speed me another one, albeit with a little pink thing. But this is an amazing series of products to keep your mobile phone safe and protected, and it comes with a whole lot of accessories. Now, I'd like to tell you the Alpine drivers drove in sports cars, but they didn't. Instead, they were in Renault Espaces. But I had a close look, and this is the first time I've seen the E in a highlighted blue. This vehicle also has the underdoor trim in Alpine colours, and this little logo up the front. This is a hybrid. What is that? That's a nice Porsche. There's so many Porsches around here. And is there anything special mechanically about this car? I believe not. It's just cosmetically different. Has a different steering wheel, some nicer interior stitching, and a few other enhancements. And both he and Esteban were driving that Espace. Although on the back window I noticed that one of the drivers had a 2 on his car and the other one had a 3. Wandering around the car park, I came across this Alfa Romeo and it had sticker on the front, so I figured that was Valtteri Bottas's, but of course it wasn't, because that was his trainer's car. He and his manager would drive that car in while Valtteri rode his bicycle. And it is a Canyon bicycle, which we discussed a couple of videos ago, but it's worth many thousands of euros. And while Valtteri was in an Alfa Romeo, his teammate was not. Instead, Zhou Guanyu in an Audi Q8. And did Zhou stop for any selfies out the front of the track? Yes, close to the main entrance. There was probably 50 or so people that I spotted on the first morning waiting outside, and that number grew, and a number of drivers stopped and from their comfort of their car signed some autographs and posed for selfies. One of those was Daniel Ricciardo, driving in the back of this Honda Civic Type R. Now, I've just picked up that the Honda Civic Type R has a logo on the front, on its badge, that has a red background. That is, I believe, the only car in the Honda range to have a red background. And you can only get this car in manual. It was the exact same car, albeit a different colour, for the young Yuki Tsunoda. Too bad Porsche aren't in F1, because here they would be horribly overrepresented. There are 5 different Porsches here, all of them sports cars, including that 918 Spider. Oh, and that was a G-Wagon Brabus that just passed us. And these aren't even the best cars. If we go just around the corner to the casino, there is such a stunning array of supercars there, but they won't allow me to film down there. They get a bit touchy. Still to come, those Ferrari drivers in 2 of the most spectacular cars we've seen all year. But first, let's talk about Alex Albon's car. He was in an Alfa Romeo Stelvio. And a friend of mine, who normally had a trip to the track of 30 minutes on a Thursday, said on Sunday it took 2 hours. It flowed nicely up until a point, and then everything sat still for 30 or 40 minutes, just inching forward. If you're thinking about coming next year, beware, traffic's nasty. And going home on the train, look at this. Crazy numbers of people trying to get on at the train station. And Logan Sargent in a dirty Alfa Romeo Tonale. By my reckoning, there are 5 cars still to come. Sergio Perez's, I can't tell you, I didn't see it, but I'm going to take a punt and say it's exactly the same as Max's, being a Mustang GT Mach-E. Now, the car of the weekend has to be Charles Leclerc's 812 Competizione A. This is his own customised Ferrari. He's had it for a little while now. It is the A version of the Competizione. It's got white calipers, you notice that? It's got matte white paint, and his number 16 is on the car. He drove this from Monaco, and from memory it's, I'm guessing, 4 hours, maybe a little bit quicker in a car like that. And his teammate Carlos Sainz was also in a Ferrari, in a beautiful Roma. And this one was the Spider, meaning the roof comes off. And I'm always intrigued by this car, in so much as to find the model number you have to look on the dashboard. Most other cars have it on the back, except Aston Martin, and they don't have it anywhere visible as far as I can see. This is Lance Stroll's car. Well, when I say it's Lance's car, he didn't actually drive it. His trainer and manager drove it, and he got a lift in with his dad, and I didn't see what his dad was in. And there was a similar situation to Fernando Alonso, who stayed in his motorhome and came in separately from his trainer and manager, who came in this DBX. Finally, the 2 Haas drivers, and Nico Hülkenberg, I'm told, had a driver because I never saw a car in the car park with his sticker on it, whereas Kevin Magnussen had a BMW. Now, I'd love to tell you that in Monaco we're going to see some of these cars being driven by drivers to the track, but no, there will be no drivers drove video for Monaco because none of them drive. Instead, they take boats or scooters or motorcycles. Or bicycles, as in Valtteri's case. But if you've learnt a thing or two and you've loved this video, please hit the like button. And for the 50% of you who have watched and yet not subscribed, can I ask you a favour? Could you please hit the subscribe button? It doesn't obligate you in any way, but it gives you the opportunity to see my content more often than if you were to search for it. And for a whole lot of extra content and merchandise, like my signed prints and books, that's where you need to go. Thanks for watching.
And stay passionate.
Oh, we're just about to start recording, and this poor gentleman over here has lost all of his Coke cans. But, let's go back over here.